25 life-saving facts you'll wish you knew sooner. Once, deep in the heart of a forgotten mountain village, there lived an old woman whose name was whispered only in hushed tones. Her eyes were like ancient pools, reflecting a depth of wisdom that seemed to go back centuries. She was the kind of person you'd hear about in stories. Those stories passed down from grandmother to granddaughter. Stories with the kind of weight that made you stop and listen, even though you weren't sure why. It was said she held secrets. Secrets so powerful they could change the very way you viewed the world. Secrets that could transform your life. But these weren't the kinds of secrets you'd find in dusty old books, nor were they lessons taught in lecture halls. These were facts, life-saving facts, that had been passed down through the generations. They weren't some ancient folklore. They were pieces of wisdom so simple yet so profoundly true that when you finally understood them, you'd wonder why no one had told you sooner. One quiet afternoon, a traveler arrived in the village. He had heard rumors of the old woman, and like so many before him, he was desperate for answers. His life had been nothing short of a struggle. Every part of it felt like he was running in circles. His job was meaningless, his relationships falling apart, and his health was in constant decline. He felt as if everything he did only brought him further into the pit of despair. He had tried everything: hard work, connections, self-help books, but nothing seemed to make a difference. He had reached his breaking point. That's when he came across the woman. She didn't appear to be anything special at first glance. Her clothes were plain, her hair streaked with gray, and she lived in a small, unassuming house at the edge of the village. But something about her presence was undeniable. Something in the way she sat there, in the way her eyes locked onto his, as though she had seen every part of his life laid bare before her. The traveler, feeling both lost and oddly comforted, asked her the question that had been weighing on his soul. "How do I fix my life?" And without hesitation, she leaned in, her voice barely a whisper, yet filled with a power that seemed to resonate deep within him. "You think you know everything," she began, her voice calm, almost like a lullaby. "But you don't. The truth is, everything you've been told about success, about happiness, about survival is wrong. The answers are right in front of you, hidden in plain sight." Her words hung in the air, heavier than anything he had heard before. He didn't speak, didn't know how to respond. She continued, undeterred, as if she had been waiting for this moment her entire life. "Life is not about what you chase, it's about what you learn to let go of. The world is full of noise, and the noise is drowning out the truth." The traveler looked at her, puzzled. Let go of what? He had been chasing his dreams, striving for success, but now she was telling him that he was doing it all wrong? The old woman smiled as if she knew exactly what he was thinking, and she reached for a small, weathered book lying on the table. "This," she said, tapping it gently with her fingers, "holds the secrets. You will learn them not through effort or will, but by listening to the world, to yourself." As she began speaking again, each word she shared felt like a revelation. Her stories were simple but piercing. The first thing you must understand is that your life is not about conquering. It's about understanding. She spoke slowly, letting each word settle into his mind, as though her words were seeds planted deep within him. If you want to find peace, if you want to find meaning, you need to learn to let go of the very things that are weighing you down. The traveler, unable to contain his curiosity, asked the question that burned in him. "What do I need to let go of?" She smiled again, that knowing smile. "The first thing you must let go of," she began, her tone growing even more serious, "is your need for approval from others. The second is your fear of failure. The third, well, let me show you." She told him to close his eyes. For a moment, he wondered if this was some kind of test. But then, as he did so, the world around him seemed to shift. In that brief instant, everything felt still, as if time had paused. "Listen carefully," she said, "because these facts will save your life. You may not understand them now, but you will." 1. The first fact she revealed was simple but profound. Your time is finite. You can't control time, but you can control how you spend it. Time isn't something you have forever, yet most people squander it chasing things that don't matter. The key to happiness isn't about more time, it's about how you use the time you have. 2. The second fact. Success doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from knowing when to rest. In the world, people are taught to hustle, hustle, hustle. But rest, too, is a form of productivity. In silence, there is power. In stillness, there is clarity. The harder you push, the further you fall into exhaustion, but when you allow yourself the space to rest, you rise higher than you ever thought possible. 3, the third. The pursuit of perfection will only keep you stuck. You don't need to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion, a mirage that keeps you chasing a goal that can never truly be reached. Instead, strive for progress. Progress is real, it's tangible, and it's what brings you closer to your best self. Number 4, the fourth fact was the one that shook him most. Happiness isn't found in the future, it's in the present. He had spent his entire life waiting for the right moment, thinking that happiness would come once he achieved something, once he made enough money, or once he reached some arbitrary milestone. The truth, as the old woman said, was that happiness was always here, always in the now. It was a choice, not a destination. The 5. And then the most powerful fact of all, you are not in control, and that's okay. Control is an illusion. The more you try to control everything in your life, the more it slips through your fingers. Life is unpredictable, and the sooner you accept that, the more peace you'll find. The traveler sat in stunned silence. Each of these truths cut through the fog of confusion that had clouded his life for so long. He had never heard anything like it before. The more she spoke, the more the weight on his chest began to lift. But the old woman wasn't done yet. She leaned forward, her voice lower now, almost a whisper. You're not ready for the final truth, but when you are, you'll understand why everything you thought you knew about success, happiness, and life itself was wrong. She left him with that. And just like that, she was gone. The traveler sat there, staring at the spot where she had once been, the weight of her words still echoing in his mind. What did she mean by the final truth? What was the secret she had yet to reveal? Would he ever truly understand? As the night grew darker, the traveler knew one thing for certain. His life would never be the same again. But the true question lingered, haunting him. What will you do with this knowledge? The story ends here, but for you, it's just the beginning. Do you dare to challenge everything you've ever known about success and happiness? Let me know in the comments what part of this story spoke to you the most. And if you want to learn more about the hidden truths that can transform your life, don't forget to like and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Stay tuned, because what I have to reveal next will leave you breathless.